as I said, this wasn't a scintillating type of game. I do think that this was, from a Swedish standpoint, I thought it was going okay, and especially I don't know if you remember, there was this point in the probably the end of the first half where there's a good 15-minute chunk there where Sweden was pinning Spain back into their own end and actually creating some really good turnovers and opportunities from that. They couldn't capitalize on that, but that in and of itself isn't necessarily impressive, but to do it against a team that we know loves possession, and instead of just being that kind of pragmatic and, I guess, predictable type of team to just pull back, Sweden didn't do that. Now, it didn't result ultimately, like I said, in them scoring goals, but there was that moment when there was kind of an open window. And then in the start of the second half, I think it continued a little. And then to Jorge Vilda's credit, he recognized that something needed to be done. And substitutions are not just about the personnel, but also about the message that it sends and the way that you change the complexion of the game. And I thought the game completely changed when the substitutions came in. To be fair for both sides, but in particular for Spain.
Yeah, I thought Sweden gave a good account of themselves, but they do fall short again. They are on the women's side what the Netherlands is on the men's side, the most accomplished nation yet to win a World Cup or an Olympics for that matter. They've had so many near misses, and this tournament ends in disappointment again for them. But yeah, in terms of Spain, I thought Vilda, he was correcting a mistake because he rolled the dice by starting Putellas, and she was really off the pace. I was excited when the lineup came out and she was in there because I wanted to see what the two-time Ballon d'Or winner would do in a match like this. But she's
just not there yet.
She's just not there, yeah. And he brings on Paraguayo in the second half. And she just gives this Spain team a different dimension. We know it's mostly about possession and tiki-taka, but to have that one player who's more direct, who runs at defenders, I think gives them a different look, which is important. And, you know, I mentioned on the last pod that one of the themes of this tournament had been young phenoms. You had 18-year-old Linda Caicedo, 19-year-old Aoba Fugino, 20-year-old Mary Fowler. And you wondered who was going to emerge as the best young player of this tournament. And it looks like it is going to be Paraguayo with her heroics in the quarterfinals and then today.
So you say that. Rob Stone said that, which leads me to believe that you told Rob Stone to say that. But why do you think that Paraguayo has the inside edge over like a Caicedo?
Well, only because she's the last one left. And so that last impression, I think, might put her over the top. And she would get chosen. Oh, you do have, I did Mary Fowler, who I just mentioned that.
Yeah, I don't
but
know.
Paraguayo is the youngest player left. She's the only teenager left in the tournament.
Look, and she is wonderful, to your point. She is a huge asset to come off the bench. She changes the complexion of the game. Like I said, you know, her speed, and you can tell that she was a former sprinter in the way that she uses her speed, but it's not just about speed. I mean, her thought process, her touch, obviously her finishing ability. I mean, that was kind of a poacher's type of goal that she scored that she scored tonight. So, you know, this is, and I'll just repeat what I said on television for those that were asleep and didn't hear it, but a lot of credit has to go to Jorge Vilda and this, to be quite honest, to the Federation, to the Spanish Federation, who, in the moment when they could have changed things, in the moment when the 15, the 15 players that said, no, we're not coming back, and it's still kind of foggy as to exactly what the problems were, but they said that we're going to continue on.
Yeah, that's the problem. I don't know exactly what was going on behind the scenes, so and listen, if it was one or two players, you'd think, well, there's his side, there's their side. The fact that it was 15 makes you think there was something wrong, and only 3 came back. 12 players felt strongly enough about it that they were willing to not play in a World Cup. So, listen, you have to compartmentalize. On a footballing level, sure, he deserves some credit. His team is in the final. They're playing very well. But I don't know, there's something gross about the narrative being, boy, the Federation vindicated and he gets the last laugh, and boy, those players must feel ridiculous sitting at home.
Well, again, it depends on ultimately what the gripes were. And you know, they could be, to your point, absolutely legitimate. Do you think, though, that I guess it would be 13 now, right? Or 12 now that are at home, the Doce, right? the Doce at home, you think that they were sitting at home hate watching? I mean, they're human.
I can only speak for myself. I would be.
Of course you would be. It's okay. It's okay to admit that. That's exactly what you'll be doing, especially to your point, if you think that this person was part of the problems going on, and the Federation, to be fair, and now They're going to a World Cup final. And, you know, it's just, it's an amazing story. And Rob Stone and I, we talk about this because 4 years ago, I vividly remember sitting with him and talking about it. Maybe we can pull it up for our next show, where we were sitting there saying, hey, this team has got something. It's not the finished product by any stretch of the imagination. It's not ready for prime time, but it's got something. And, you know, you got to take your hat off to what they have done in a relatively short period of time.